Hi, this is MIcornus Phokane, the leader and the founder of Church Governance Solutions. Today I want to speak about congregations supporting their own pastors. And this is very important because the concept of honor has actually deserted the church. And the concept of honoring pastors and supporting pastors and so on has actually deserted the church. And we know it's because of the wrong teachings, because supporting pastors have been abused in the past years or so. And majority of the people, therefore, they thought that it is not very prudent to support your pastor because the preachers of the years that we are living in have actually been demanding and abusing the congregants. They've been abusing people, sometimes also taking their hard-earned monies and robbing them of their finances as well. Now, this is something that has made the people not to understand that it is still very important to support your pastor. And we want to teach the true church of God that remember that this man or woman of God, called by God himself, they are actually people that are having the vision that you are supporting. And as you support the vision, support the pastor as you support the vision. Because that's very important that we understand. That is very key when you are a member or a congregant in a particular church, that you support your pastor. And that's very, very important. And today we want to speak about how do you support your pastor? Because you need to know how in order to be able to support your pastor. And majority of the time, we always say, support your pastor, but we don't tell you how. And this is exactly what we want to do today. Remember, on this platform, we at Church Governance Solutions, we're restoring godly order in the house of the orderly God. And this is what you need to do to support your pastor. Number one, you need to pray for the pastor and his family. Now, this is a duty of congregation. This is a duty of every member of any church, that you pray for your pastor and and the pastor's family. This is very important. Remember, these are the people that are called by God to lead the vision that you're supporting. And they need to be protected. They need to be sustained by God. They need to have supply, and in the meantime, actually to sustain their family as well. And that can be done by you praying for them. Now, praying for them is that God will help them to have strength and to garner strength to continue. It is not easy to run a ministry. It's not for mama's babies to run ministry. Very difficult, and it's not easy to lead people as well. Now, people like you may take it light and say it's easy to lead yourself, but it's very difficult to lead the people. And I want to emphasize right now that the first thing that you can ever do, or the best thing that you can ever do, rather, is to pray for your pastor and his family. This is very important. Now, if you have not yet started praying for the pastor and his family in your life, you need to start now, because that's the most basic way and very important way, actually, of supporting your pastor. It is a mandate of the congregation to support your own pastor, and prayer then becomes the foundation of the first thing to support your pastor. The other thing is be fully committed in the work of the vision, because the other thing that the pastor demands from you, or rather would appreciate from you, is when you are very committed in the vision. Now, the vision cannot be carried by one man or one woman. Though God called this one man or this one woman, it is actually very important for us to understand it was not meant to be carried by them alone. And that's the reason that God brought us alongside them to assist them and be committed to the vision, to make sure that the vision get accomplished. And the vision cannot get accomplished until we stand up as children of God who are in the congregations to say we want to support our pastors and therefore deliver to the work of the vision. This is very important. Now, be fully committed to the vision. Be fully supportive in the vision. Please save your resources and channel them to the vision. Your own time, spare your own time to channel it to the vision, to support by all means, and make sure that your availability is there to support the vision. So it's very important that we emphasize that the greatest or the other great support that you can do for your pastor is to commit to the vision and be able really to be there and avail yourself for the vision. The other thing is promote spirit of unity amongst all members at all times. Now, this is one thing that will actually formulate what we call collaboration towards success. Because when you start to forge the spirit of unity, you are actually making the people to become one in spirit and in one accord. And people that are in one accord, which is united spirit, they are able to achieve more. And therefore, if you are the person who's making sure that the people are one mind, one spirit, and they are united in what they do, then you know that there will be progress in pushing the vision. And that is one thing, one way of supporting your pastor. Now, the pastor is looking for people that would actually assist in carrying the vision, as we've said. A pastor is looking for people that will actually take off the burden of the ministry from their shoulders. We've mentioned that earlier. And I want to emphasize that to do that is to make sure that we recruit more people to be in line with the vision and support the pastor with unity or unison. And that's very important. Because when people are together, one in one spirit, they will achieve more, as I've mentioned. And this is very important, that you become then somebody who is helping with unifying the saints. You cannot be found to be dividing the people, because a kingdom that is divided against each other, it will fail or it will fall. It will never succeed in anything. So therefore, you want to build a kingdom that is united and that is actually together. And when you do that and you are participating in uniting the people, therefore, you are supporting the pastor as a result. So this is very important that we emphasize that. The other thing is to support the vision with your finances. And we want to emphasize that visions need finances to facilitate them. Now, when somebody is running a church will need money for actually running the affairs of the church, for being able to pay for amenities of the church, for being able to pay for the bills of the church, which will be the services that the church is actually serving. And whether it's rental money, whether it is electricity and water, but the church needs money. And this is very important. The church needs money also for buildings to be done, and also structures in the church are needing money. Conferences, activities that are in the church. The church service itself, you need money to run it. So therefore, supporting the pastor is supporting the vision with your finances as well. We want to emphasize as Church Governance Solutions that there's nothing wrong about giving your money to church. And I know there are many people that are opposing this and say, but you cannot give money to the church, you must go out and give to the poor. You're doing exactly like Judas was saying. When somebody was actually pouring the perfume unto Jesus, expensive perfume, Judas said, why didn't she sell this and give the money to the poor? And I want you to understand that as much as you criticize people that are giving money into the church, it is their money and they like giving. So if you don't want to give, don't give. But never discourage others from giving into the church. This is very important. They giving their own money to the church? Yes, let them give, because that's the way that is supporting this vision. And as you support the vision with finances, you are therefore supporting your pastor. And as Church Governance Solutions, we are actually promoting congregants to make sure that they give money into their churches, because there's no way the church will run without money. So we definitely need to encourage you to give money and your finances into the church. The other thing to really, really support the pastor is to expose your talents and gifts, and also to avail them for the use of the support of the vision. Now some of you are gifted in singing. Some of you are gifted in administration. Some of you are gifted in evangelism. Some of you are gifted in many activities that the church needs. Now, if you are gifted in any of the gifts that we're mentioning, or rather maybe it's the gifts that we have never mentioned right here, but you know you are gifted and your gift is needed in the church, it is high time that you rise up and therefore provide your services unto the church. And that is a way of supporting your pastor and supporting the vision that the pastor has been given. And we want to emphasize that every child of God is having a gift, and those gifts are for the kingdom of God. And if you are saying you're serving God, you must serve God with the same talents that God has given you. And we want to emphasize and encourage you to say, please support the pastor with your own talents and that God has given you. Make sure that you are participating with those talents in the church, and the good Lord will bless you as you do that. And I know there are many people that are having talents and they're sitting back with them, but please expose those talents and make sure that you support the church with those talents. There's also respect and submit to leadership structures. And now this is very important because there are many times where somebody says, I'm supporting the pastor, but you don't respect and honor the leadership that the pastor has appointed. You undermine this very same leadership of the pastor, the very same leadership that he has appointed to lead in the church. The very same departmental leaders that has been appointed to lead the departments in the church. You're undermining them, you're looking down upon them, but yet you're saying you're supporting the pastor. One way of supporting the pastor is to respect the leadership that he has appointed and all the structures that he has put up. Honor them, support them, and make sure that you are there to participate in those departments as well. And that's part of supporting the pastor. And we want to urge you that whatever department that you participate in, so please give in there and submit and completely commit to that department and respect and honor the leadership in that department. And that will be that art of supporting the pastor in that regard. And we want to emphasize that as well because it's very important. Make sure that you respect and honor the pastor's wife. And this is very important. There are many people that will sit and respect the pastor himself, but yet when it comes to the pastor's wife, they undermine the pastor's wife. Now, undermining the pastor's wife is equivalent to undermining the pastor himself. Because there are some of you who says, no. As long as I honor the pastor, as long as I respect the pastor. And sometimes when we do things only for the pastor. If we celebrate birthdays and we celebrate the pastor's birthday, we forget the pastor's wife's birthday, then we are actually dividing the church. We are not supporting the pastor at all. And this is very important that if you support the pastor, honor and respect the pastor's wife as well. Because the pastor's wife is part of the pastor himself, and they are both running the vision. And if you support them together. If you support the pastor, support them together. And we want to emphasize that because there are many people that think that supporting the pastor alone and undermining the pastor's wife is okay. And we want to say, as Church Governance Solutions, because we are restoring godly order here in the house of the orderly God, we want to say the pastor's wife is as important as the pastor in the church. So please honor them both and respect them both because that's very important for you to do so. The other thing is that you need to do is to ensure the well-being of the pastor by ensuring they have accommodation, they have food, they have got transport as well. What do we mean here is that make sure that you take total care of them. Make sure that you look after them. Make sure that they don't lack anything that will make them give up in the ministry. And we know that some of you are coming from the church of the old, where pastors were known to be poor people. And their children are suffering while our children are doing well. Their children are not going to school because they don't have school fees and so on. While our children are paid for in very expensive private schools, and the pastor's children are actually not even schooling because they don't have school fees. And you hear people say, no, but it's the calling of God. He must hearken to the calling of God. Now, forget that he's also needing that his the school fees of his children should be paid, and he needs a petrol for his car, or even he needs a car and not to use a taxi. And of course, they need food on the table as well. And this is very important for a church or a congregation to understand that. We are restoring godly order in the house of the orderly God as Church Governance Solutions. And I know that pastors may not be able to tell you this, but as Church Governance Solutions, we want to tell you that you need to take care of your pastor, and when you do so, go all the way. We want to end up here today. Your host, MIcornus Phokane. I'm the leader and the founder of Church Governance Solutions. Remember, we are restoring godly order in the house of the orderly God. Before we check out today, we want to remind you of our social media platforms, our Facebook page, Church Governance Solutions, and my personal Facebook page is MIcornus Phokane. So please follow us, like these pages, click the notification buttons. Don't forget our TikTok account is under MIcornus Phokane, so please follow us there as well. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, which is under Young Men Empowerment Forum. I repeat, Young Men Empowerment Forum. That's our YouTube channel. So please subscribe to the YouTube channel. Click the notification button as well. As you do, share these platforms with your loved ones, and the good Lord will bless you as you do so. Until we meet again with another session of this kind, may the good Lord bless you, and allow me to check to say cheers for now.